When I was 17, the house was silent. Too silent. The stillness wasn't peace. It was the echo of something violently removed. I remember the smell of industrial cleaner, that sharp, unnatural scent of an entire life being erased. Then I saw it, a simple, folded piece of paper on the kitchen counter. It was the cruelest sentence I'd ever read, scrawled in my mother's familiar hand. It just said, "You'll figure it out." My family was gone. My brother, my parents, my entire past. It wasn't until I read those 4 words that I realized the true depth of the betrayal. This wasn't accidental, it was deliberate. They didn't just leave a note, they left a statement about my worth. I couldn't understand what had I done to deserve this absolute erasure. I replayed every memory, searching for the fault line. Was it the birthday cake I made for my mum at 13, which she called clumpy? Was it the weeks I spent tutoring my brother, Michael, through his finals at 15, only to have him call me a know-it-all and slam his door? Or was it sacrificing my entire paycheck at 16 so my father could cover the bills, only to have him later claim I was useless? I was always useful. I was the financial safety net, the academic support, the quiet presence that caused no trouble. But I was never, ever loved. The truth was, they had never even pretended. I soon learned the lease was cancelled early. I had a week to get out. I was 17, legally a minor, suddenly facing eviction from the home that was supposed to be my sanctuary. The panic wasn't just physical, it was soul-deep. For 3 nights I slept on a friend's couch, the shame curdling in my stomach, the weight of my secret too heavy to share. When that option vanished, I rented a storage unit, a damp, concrete box with the very last of my savings. I can still smell the dust and mildew of that place. I slept in the deepest corner, hidden behind boxes, huddled in a thin sleeping bag. Survival became a brutal routine, sneaking into the YMCA before dawn to use the showers, eating peanut butter with a spoon for every meal, and spending hours on free library computers, applying for any job that would have me. The hunger wasn't just in my stomach. It was a desperate craving for stability. The diner was my first port in the storm. I worked the graveyard shift, the silence broken only by the hiss of the fryers and the lonely clatter of dishes. The manager, gruff but decent, paid me cash under the table until I could navigate the bureaucratic nightmare of getting an ID. I remember one night, nearly collapsing from exhaustion, and she just let me nap in the break room, a small act of grace that felt like a lifeline. I clawed my way through it. Every single penny was sacred. I bought a prepaid phone, studied finance tutorials on YouTube, and built a shield of absolute solitude. That first year was just a blur of fear and fatigue. Then came the pivot. A regular at the diner, an older woman who saw more than I let and offered me a temp job cleaning out office files. It paid triple what I made serving. I said yes. That job became my masterclass. I learned quickly, showed up early, and asked every question I could think of. By 22, I was freelancing full-time. By 25, I launched my own consulting business, starting with just a folding table and a borrowed laptop. The success was mechanical, driven by a fear so profound it demanded perfection. By 27, I had 5 contractors. By 29, I was a millionaire. Not some social media fiction, but real capital, real savings, 0 debt, and health insurance I could actually afford. When my bank app finally hit 7 figures, I didn't cheer. I sat on my immaculate apartment floor and sobbed, a profound mix of pride and devastating loneliness. I had achieved everything, but I had no one to tell. Throughout those 12 years, there was no contact, not even a drunken email. I saw Michael pop up once on a suggested friends list, married, still living in the state they disappeared to. I stared at the screen for an hour, wondering if he ever mentioned me. Was I the sister who ran away? Or simply the sister who never existed? It was never hate I felt, just a deep, shattering heartbreak that had hardened into a core of steel. I started going to therapy because I wanted to stay unbroken. The catalyst for their return was simple: a podcast interview I did about surviving family estrangement. It blew up. 1 million views in 4 days. That sudden public visibility, the success, was the trigger they needed. My inbox was flooded with support. And then one email that stopped my heart came from my mother. "You're still our daughter." No apology, just a request to talk. The timing was suspect, the lack of ownership chilling. Michael followed up. "We miss you. Can we fix this? My therapist, Melissa, was my anchor. She suggested I take a week to process. I kept opening the emails, reading the cold clinical distance of my mother's words and the strange, desperate sincerity in Michael's. After 10 days, I replied to him first. It's been 12 years. What changed? His response came within the hour. He claimed the podcast made him realize the truth. He claimed he was only 15 and didn't have a choice. He claimed seeing me successful made him proud. I was skeptical. Why now? Why wait until I was publicly, visibly successful? I asked him exactly that. His next email confirmed every suspicion I had. My parents' business had failed. His wife Jenny was pregnant with her second child. Medical bills were piling up. The emotional facade crumbled, revealing the raw financial need. I decided to meet Michael alone in Chicago. We sat in a sterile coffee shop, strangers linked by damaged DNA. The small talk was agonizing. Then he started apologizing, framing himself as a scared kid. I listened, dissecting his remorse. I finally asked the question that had haunted me for 12 years. Why me? Why was I the one left behind? He looked down, his answer hollowed out by years of his parents' lies. They always saw you as the strong one. They thought you didn't need them as much as I did. I told him about the storage unit, the peanut butter diet, the night shifts. His face finally crumbled into genuine guilt. They had told him I had a plan, that I had chosen to separate from them, a lie designed to protect his conscience. Later, my mother called. I asked her the same question. Her answer was transactional. We were in debt, Emma. We couldn't afford 3 mouths to feed. We knew you were smart enough to make it on your own. They thought they were doing me a favor, assuming I'd immediately enter the foster system and find a better family. I hung up on her and blocked the number. My father's first contact in 12 years was an email asking for financial help, detailing their medical bills and eviction fears. Not an apology, just a demand. I forwarded it to my therapist with the subject line, and there it is. I set the boundary with Michael. I would consider a relationship with him, but absolutely no money, no loans, and no relationship with our parents until they took full responsibility. His response, calling me selfish with your success, pushed every guilt button they had installed in me as a child. The situation escalated. My parents drove 8 hours and showed up at my high-security apartment building. My dad's angry voicemail, "You're being childish. We deserve a chance to explain." Then came Jenny, Michael's wife. She arrived with her sleeping toddler, Lily. She revealed the whole sick truth. My parents had been telling everyone I was mentally unstable and had stolen money from them, a carefully crafted narrative to cover their abandonment. They were now financially reliant on Michael. Jenny insisted they file a restraining order. My parents responded by breaking into Michael's house, leaving chaos and stealing sensitive documents, including Lily's baby photos. The message was clear. Family matters should stay in the family. We all filed for emergency restraining orders, with my lawyer, Marcus, leading the charge. This was no longer just about heartbreak. It was a legal war for survival. The court date arrived. I saw my parents near the entrance, looking smaller, older. In the courtroom, Marcus presented the evidence, the break-in, the threatening texts, the stalking. When it was their turn, my father denied everything. But the judge cut through the lies. Did you leave your minor child alone and move to another state? My father mumbled about financial hardship. The judge's expression hardened. He granted the restraining orders. 3 years, no contact. As we left, my mum called my name once, softly. I kept walking. Michael hugged me. A real hug this time. "I'm sorry, Emma, for everything." But the reprieve was short. A final text arrived, a photo of my niece Lily playing in a backyard, followed by, "This isn't over yet." They had violated the order immediately. I took action, moving Michael, Jenny, and Lily into my secure apartment building. I was done hiding. I broke the restraining order myself to set the final trap. I emailed them, "Let's talk one last time. Tomorrow, noon. The coffee shop on 8th Street. Just me." They arrived exactly at noon. I didn't waste time. I told them, "It's over. You've lost not just the court case. You've lost me, lost Michael, lost your grandchildren." I showed them screenshots of every threat, every lie, the photo of Lily. "I've sent copies to everyone in your lives, your church, your neighbors. Not yet, but I will if you contact any of us again." My dad got angry. You're ungrateful. You owe us for raising you. I laughed in his face. Gratitude for doing the bare minimum for 17 years before abandoning me completely. My mother was crying, asking if I hated them. I stood up. I don't hate you. I feel nothing for you. You're strangers to me now, and that's your loss, not mine. I walked out feeling the profound, cold clarity of finality. 6 months later, Michael and Jenny moved closer to my city. We started having dinner every Sunday, building new traditions. I still went to therapy. I still flinched when the doorbell rang. One day, I received a letter from my mother. It was different. No excuses, no demands, just a simple acknowledgement that they had hurt me deeply, failed as parents, and would respect the restraining orders. It was the only thing I'd ever needed, them recognizing my right to choose who I allow in my life. Last week, Lily had her 4th birthday party at my apartment. My once empty quiet space was filled with life, noise, and love. I watched Michael swing Lily around, Jenny laughing. I thought back to the note on the counter, "You'll figure it out." And I had. I'd figured out what family should be, what love should look like, and what I deserved all along. I am not defined by what they did to me. I am defined by what I built after, by the person I chose to become, and by the family I chose to create. Thank you so much for listening. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking and subscribing. Your support means the world.